An immigration and customs enforcement agent just got busted for drunk driving after spending 18 hours arresting other people for drunk driving. And I need you to understand how beautifully, cosmically fucked up that is. Guillermo Diaz Torres, 33 years old, flew in from Albuquerque to be part of Operation Midway Blitz, which is the Trump administration's mass deportation effort in Chicago that specifically targets drunk drivers. His entire job was to round up immigrants who drove drunk and boot them out of the country. That was the mission. That was the whole damn thing. So naturally, after his shift ended at midnight on October 26th, this man climbed into his rented Kia Telluride and promptly fell asleep at an intersection so drunk he couldn't keep his eyes open, according to the Chicago Tribune and Oak Brook Police. Now here's where it gets good. A Westmont cop spots him passed out behind the wheel and tries to wake him up. Diaz Torres jolts awake, panics, and floors it straight into a row of tall hedges like he's auditioning for a stunt driving job he's wildly unqualified for. The SUV jumps the curb, plows through the shrubs, and somehow misses both a utility pole and a pedestrian crosswalk by sheer dumb luck. When officers pull him out of the botanical crime scene, they notice his speech is slurred, his eyes are bloodshot, and he reeks of alcohol. Shocking. The man who just worked an 18-hour shift hunting drunk drivers smells like a distillery exploded in his mouth. But wait, it gets dumber. Body cam footage shows Diaz Torres telling officers he finished his shift at midnight and was heading straight to his hotel in Lombard. Straight there. No stops. Except it's now 1:30 in the morning and Lombard is less than 10 miles away, so where the hell was he for 90 minutes? The math isn't mathing. The timeline's got more holes than his story. Officers ask him directly where he's been since midnight, and this federal agent, this professional law enforcement officer, trained in interrogation techniques, just stares at them and says, "I have no idea, sir. I'm not from here." Brother, that is not an answer. That is a confession wrapped in geographic confusion. Then they run him through the standard sobriety tests. Walking in a straight line? Nope. Balancing on one foot? Absolutely not. Reciting the alphabet? Fail. The man bombed every single test like he was trying to set a record for incompetence. Officers ask him to take a breathalyzer, and he refuses, which is always the move of someone who knows exactly how screwed they are. On the body cam, you can hear him asking for his phone so he can call my chain of command, which is federal agents speak for "please God, get me out of this." And here's the kicker, the absolute chef's kiss of irony. Operation Midway Blitz, the program he was working for, is named after a suburban woman killed by a drunk driver who was in the country illegally. The entire operation exists to arrest and deport people for drunk driving. That's the stated purpose. That's the marketing. The administration has been screaming from the rooftops that drunk driving is justification enough to detain and deport immigrants. And now one of their own agents, flown in specifically to enforce that policy, gets popped for the exact same crime while actively working the operation. It's like hiring a vegan to run a steakhouse and catching them elbow deep in a bucket of chicken wings. Diaz Torres now faces up to a year in jail if convicted. His agency released a statement saying they're committed to maintaining the highest standards of integrity, which is the professional way of saying, yeah, we fucked up. The guy's still technically employed, by the way, still on the payroll. Still an ICE agent. Just one who crashed into some hedges while drunk after spending his entire day arresting other people for crashing into things while drunk. The hedges, for the record, did not press charges. Anyway, that's your feel-good story about federal hypocrisy for today. Up next, we've got another tale of human stupidity that'll make you question everything. And if you think that's the peak of human innovation, buckle up because we're heading straight to Florida where a man turned Grand Theft Auto into a fucking business model. Some absolute genius in Orange County stole a rental car, and instead of ditching it like a normal criminal, he decided to run it as his personal Uber for 3 solid weeks while keeping the engine running around the clock so the rental company couldn't remotely shut it down. This is according to multiple Florida law enforcement sources, and I need you to sit with that for a second. He didn't just steal a car, he stole a car and turned it into a taxi service while the meter was literally never stopped running. Here's how this masterpiece of criminal entrepreneurship went down. Our guy walks into a rental car place in Orange County, signs all the paperwork, drives off in a perfectly good vehicle, and then just stops making payments. Normal scam so far, right? Rental companies have seen this 1,000 times. But this man had vision. He had ambition. He understood that rental car companies have the ability to remotely disable vehicles when payments stop coming in, so he did the most beautifully stupid thing possible. He never turned the fucking car off. Not once. For 3 weeks straight, that engine was purring like a neurotic cat that refuses to sleep. He kept it running in parking lots, at gas stations, outside his house, probably while he was inside eating breakfast. The car was awake longer than a meth head at a rave. And during those 3 weeks of non-stop automotive commitment, he's out here picking up Uber passengers like he's running a legitimate operation. People are climbing into this stolen rental car, punching in their destinations, tipping him for good service, probably giving him 5 stars for being so punctual. Meanwhile, the rental company is losing their minds trying to figure out why their remote kill switch isn't working. Here, they're sitting in an office somewhere staring at a computer screen like, why won't this vehicle shut down? Is it possessed? Did we accidentally rent out Christine? And the answer is no, it's not possessed. It's just being operated by a man who understands that crime requires dedication and a complete disregard for engine wear. But here's where the plan falls apart, because of course it does. You can't run a stolen car as an Uber forever. Eventually, someone notices. Maybe it's a cop who runs the plates. Maybe it's an Uber corporate audit. Maybe it's the rental company finally sending someone out to physically find the damn thing because their technology has been defeated by a guy who just refused to turn the key to the off position. However it happened, cops showed up and arrested him, and when they did, I guarantee that car was still running. They probably had to reach in and turn it off themselves while he screamed, "No, don't! You'll brick it!" Now he's facing charges for grand theft auto and probably a dozen other things, and the rental company finally got their car back. I'm sure it smells like 3 weeks of continuous operation, stale French fries, and broken dreams. The odometer probably looks like it drove to the moon. The gas bill alone could fund a small war. And somewhere, some Uber passenger is leaving a review that says, "Great driver, very punctual, car smelled weird but overall 5 stars." They have no idea they were part of a criminal enterprise. They just thought they had a really committed driver who took his job seriously. The rental company, for what it's worth, did eventually disable the vehicle after repossessing it, which means they could have done it the whole time but were just outsmarted by a man who understood the one weird trick they didn't want you to know: never stop driving. It's like he read the terms and conditions, found the loophole, and exploited it with the determination of someone who really didn't want to pay for a car. He stole air conditioning, satellite radio, and door-to-door transportation for 3 weeks without ever technically leaving the vehicle in a state where it could be shut down. That's not just theft, that's performance art. So now he's in jail, the car's an impound, and Uber has one less driver clogging up the roads with a vehicle that was never supposed to be there in the first place. What's the dumbest side hustle you've ever seen? Leave it in the comments. Hit that subscribe button, because God knows what other insane news I'm going to dig up next time.